Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today we're going to be talking about, well, Hall H and Marvel's big announcements there. So this was an interesting year for Hall H. Obviously, Marvel was not, I guess not obviously, but Marvel was not there last year. There was no big MCU panel because of the actor strike. You couldn't get actors in to show up with the strike going on. And so Marvel came back this year and they talked about several upcoming projects, but they also didn't talk about some things as well. So let's kind of run down what they talked about. First, they talked about Captain America Brave New World. We got to see the cast up on stage, as well as then hear a little bit more about the plot. The general idea of the plot, this one actually surprised me a little bit because it matches up with what was said at some early rumors. So this idea that the Tiamat, the Celestial, has been changed into basically adamantium, or at least parts of Tiamat are adamantium, and so now the world is fighting over that. And that's going to be some of the kind of instigation, kicking stuff off. I love that plotline. I think it's a good one for kind of some changing of the world sort of things. Next up, there was Thunderbolts, and Thunderbolts is another one that they showed some footage for. We won't dive into that too much, but they also, again, talked about the plot a little bit for that. And this idea that all these characters, all the members of the Thunderbolts, have been sent on this mission, but they've been sent on this mission separately. And their goal is to get Bob. Who Bob is, what this whole mission is it a setup or not? That's kind of the question that they have to figure out. And I think that that's interesting because we're going to have a group of people that are not a team all converging upon this location with Bob, with Sentry, and they're going to have to figure out how to work together, or even if they can work together. Now, those two went over them fairly quickly. I think a lot of the other stuff that we saw and heard about them was fairly well known already. And a lot of it was just kind of in terms of, hey, here's the cast. But then we got to Fantastic Four. And it's called Fantastic Four, but they updated it, so it's now the Fantastic Four First Step. This is very much, to me, in my opinion, kind of a homage or a reference to the space race and that first step for man, giant leap for mankind sort of thing. I probably butchered that quote completely, but the idea of trying to get to the moon and this, what is out there. But beyond that, there was a whole lot more to talk about. So there was some footage. We got to see all three of the main male actors on a dating show. We found out that this isn't going to be an origin strictly, as we're not going to necessarily see them get their powers. It's not going to be like, oh, we're normal people, we're doing our thing, now we go to space, and now we get powers. They already have their powers, not for a long time, but just for a little bit at the very beginning. And we also have Reed giving a lecture, like a video recorded lecture to high school students on parallel dimensions as part of the Future Foundation. So that set up a ton of different things, as well as then there was a shot of Galactus looking through the windows of the Baxter building as this giant space entity. So that all has me very excited for that, as well as then they talk about how the Avengers are going to be in the upcoming, or the Fantastic Four are going to be in the two upcoming Avengers films. At which point in time kind of transitioned away from the Fantastic Four, and it was an introduction or reintroduction of the Russo Brothers, who are in fact going to be directing both Secret Wars coming in 2027, but also Avengers 5. And McFeely, who wrote Infinity War and Endgame, is going to be working on those scripts as well. I'm assuming they're adapting and working with some of what Jeff Loveness and Michael Waldron had already done. And it's just going to be tweaking that to make it work, though I suspect most of the tweaking is going to happen in Avengers 5, because we got a new title for Avengers 5. I was very close with my Rise of Doom. It's going to be Avengers Doomsday. And not only that, but we now know who's going to be playing Doom. This is going to be the big thing at Gen Con that I said, and it came true. We got our Doom casting. Now, I did not guess correctly who was going to play Doom. Who was going to play Doom, in fact, we've seen him before in the MCU. He is one of the, if not the most important characters in the MCU. Or actors in the MCU. And it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom. Now you might be like, well, how is that going to work? We're bringing back a beloved actor. Is this just something to get people excited for it again? And it's Marvel jumping the shark here. And I don't think they are. I think this was a very intentional choice. I actually think, and Greg and I will talk about this on this upcoming podcast, but I'll kind of explain my theory here as well. I think there's a real strong chance that this is a child of Howard Stark. However, I think it is an illegitimate firstborn child of Howard Stark in a different world than 616 MCU. He is an abandoned, illegitimate child whose mother maybe dabbled in the mystical side of things. So it's this fusion of magic and technology. This is very Doom-like that way. So you have the technology side, that brain from Howard Stark, and you have the magical side from his mother. But he's brought up separately. He's brought up to see what Howard Stark and the world is doing as this questionable thing. This person that he can't trust, but he knows that he has this desire and this want, this drive to get as much power as he can. And then he finds out about incursions. He finds out about the multiverse that's out there. And he finds out that the multiverse is dying. And so, as Doom, he's taking a different tactic to Tony as how to save the universe, how to save the multiverse. And Tony was really about how to save Earth, how to save, in Endgame and Infinity War, how to save the universe. But here it's going to be, instead of this wanting everybody to live, wanting everybody to survive, and everything to work out for everyone, kind of this very altruistic, often getting in his own way nature and causing the problems that Tony Stark has. This is going to be a very tactical and manipulative and planned out end of the universe. I think that Doom is not, or is going to know enough that I can't save everything, and also then be fine with not saving everything. It's going to quickly become a very practical, I can't save everything, but I can save some stuff. And to do that, I have to make surgical, precise decisions. And so he's going to start pruning or stealing away chunks of universes, of Earth or other, probably just Earth, because that's what Doom would care about. And making them safe, putting them under his rule, and he is now in charge, kind of this God Emperor Doom that you get in Jonathan Hickman's comics. But he's doing it for this right reason of saving the universe. But so much of it is then also he wants that power and that control. And I think it's going to be really well done if they do something similar to that. What I don't want is to rehash like the events of Iron Man 1, but instead of Tony in the cave building an Iron Man suit to create Doombots or something like that. I don't think that's going to be an interesting story. I want this to truly be a Victor Von Doom, even if it's not one that sticks around the MCU for a long time. I want this character to be this menacing figure as it is in the comics. But that's just my theory on Doom, as well as kind of a recap as to what happened at Marvel's Hall H panel at San Diego Comic-Con. Let me know what of the announcements was the most interesting to you. Obviously, I think they only really had the one big thing with Avengers 5 out there that feels truly earth-shattering in how it does it. So let me know your thoughts on that down in the comment section below. Please give the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying this content, and subscribe to know whenever we put another video up. And if you want to have kind of more of a conversation, hear what more thoughts on Hall H are, because I glossed over some of the details, you can check out our upcoming podcast, 10 Minute Marvel. You can find it wherever you find your friendly neighborhood podcasts at. A few links down in the description below. But with that, we'll see you next time.